Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to rise and pay some words of tribute to the Member of Parliament for Durham, who I first met or encountered as a newly minted MP. The member for Durham was his party's critic for, at that time, Bill C-7, which had to do with RCMP collective bargaining. And it was my first assignment to a bill, and I sat in on the Public Safety Committee, and I have to say, debating that bill with the member for Durham, I think gave me an unrealistic expectation about some of the debate in this place, because it was principled and sophisticated and well executed. And it was a pleasure, even though we didn't agree on all of the points of that bill, in fact disagreed on many of them, to carry out parliamentary debate in the style that I thought was appropriate. In fact, things got so downright collegial that it earned him a quote in one of my very first householders. It was not an authorized quote, but it was on the public records. It was fair game. And now that he's leaving public life, I feel it's time to reciprocate. So I may have a few nice things to say. That relationship developed further later in the 42nd Parliament when I had the honor of sitting in on a study of Canadian sovereignty in the north, and so we were able to travel northern Canada together. It was that was a great trip in its own right, and I learned a lot there. But one of the things that I really enjoyed about that trip was the opportunity to get to know the member for Durham better and to discuss some of the issues of the day in less public fora. And so that was certainly a pleasure. And I think one of the lessons of that experience for me, and for folks who would go and look at that report or the joint all-party press conference that we did at the end of that study, I think it was a fine example of how parliamentarians coming from different political movements and with different ideas about where the country should head, when they roll up their sleeves and they immerse themselves in the study of an important issue together, can find ways to find common ground instead of just finding ways to wedge and divide. And I think that report showed nicely that, you know, the priorities of maintaining Canada's sovereignty in the north and some of the military components of that can dovetail nicely with an emphasis on investing in the people of the north and making sure that their needs are met. I was very proud of the work that we all did together in order to make that case here to Parliament and more widely to Canadians. So as I say, I think one of the great contributions, and this was demonstrated later when the member for Durham became leader of the Conservative Party, was an ability to state differences of opinion in a principled way and in a way that promoted the kind of debate that I think Canadians want to see from their politicians. They don't need to see us agree on everything all the time or to cover over important differences, but to explore them in ways that are far more constructive than we sometimes explore those differences in this place. He talked earlier about the tendency towards division that we're witnessing in politics right now and the dangers of performance politics. I think we can say with hindsight that the member for Durham exhibited a refreshing lack of demagoguery in the way that he presented the Conservative position. And for that, I'm grateful, as I know many Canadians are. And there's a lot of lessons for all of us to learn in that, in terms of how we carry ourselves in public debate. I know that that can be a difficult thing to do, not just for members themselves, but especially for their family. And so I too want to add my voice to the chorus of thanks to Rebecca, Molly, and Jack, who supported their husband and father through this journey, and to thank on behalf of New Democrats the member for Durham for his service in this place, and to offer my well wishes for what awaits him as he exits public life. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member for Durham.